Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you for showing up, everybody. Seating of alternates, there are none. Zani will be late. He texted me. He's tied up at work. He may be on, but he's not sure. And I have not heard from Rich Demko. Public comment? Public comment twice. Public comment for a third time. We will close under public comment. Approval of the minutes of March 23, 2021's meeting. They've been distributed. I'll call for a motion to accept, then we can discuss if there's any changes. All those in favor of accepting the minutes?
I make a motion,
please.
we accept. Betty Ann?
So move. Second, please.
I'll second it, Kristen.
Okay. Discussion? Anyone have any changes, additions, omissions, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the minutes for the March 23rd meeting, say aye, please.
Aye.
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 All those who vote no? Any abstentions? Chair votes aye. Okay, report from the finance director. You're on, Doug.
Okay, as far as the revenues go, the tax collections are at 99%. So we're on pace to having a good collection rate. The real estate conveyance is at 200%. They, in case you hadn't heard, they sold Stop and Shop, and so that brought us in almost $100,000 in conveyance. And then for on the other side, the interest rates are low, so our interest revenues are way off budget. They're only 10% of budget. As far as the expenditures go, most of the departments are doing very well. Town operations, they'll need a transfer for repairs and maintenance, and some of their employees, it looks like they'll be able to do an interdepartmental transfer, so that's a good news. Same thing for Department of Public Works. They have seasonal employees, overtime, snow plowing overtime, all is in the red, but they'll also be able to do a interdepartmental transfer to cover those. On the downside, the trash hauling looks, I have projections of it being short almost $75,000, but in contingency, we should be able to cover that. And then also on the transfer station, the scale has broken, and Tony's starting to prepare a bid to get the whole thing replaced.
Well, that's part of the capital plan, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. If it's required, if any payments are required to be made prior to June 30th on that new scale, which we need, when you write the checks, put them up on the balance sheet under prepaid expenses. You're not going to expense them against the budget we're in now.
Okay.
And I can imagine that, there'll probably be something, because obviously we've got to get this thing fixed as quickly as possible with a reputable vendor, not necessarily lowest bid. But I'm guessing all of that will be screened and done correctly, I hope. But any checks that you may have to write as deposits and whatever, write them, put them up on the balance sheet as prepaid expenses, and then July 1st, when the new budget comes around, we can clear it out through the capital fund. Any questions for the finance? Any questions for the finance director?
One quick one from Betty Ann.
Go ahead.
Tell me about what is the sale with the Stop and Shop?
From what I understand, you won't really see any difference, but whoever owned a group of Stop and Shop sold it to another investment group.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sure.
it's fine with us. We made a couple of dollars off it. Any
Mhm.
other questions for the finance director? Okay. Comments from the first select woman? I don't see her on, so I'm assuming there will be no comments. Transfer requests in your packet is one transfer related to a heart and hypertension claim. Last month's meeting, Chris Pelosi, the HR director in the town, was here to explain these types of claims and all. And this is one of these types of claims that he's explaining. The bill was from PMA Companies was attached. So it looks like all the documentation is here. It's been approved by the Board of Selectmen. And they're looking for a transfer out of contingency to the workers' comp insurance line item. Hopefully, we don't have too many of these, but in any event, we are kind of saddled with them irrespective of how many we'd like. Questions for the finance director? As I said, I talked to Chris the other day. He can't be here tonight because he has a prior commitment. But he did, as everyone remembers, hopefully, did a pretty good explanation last month of what these kind of claims entail. So if there are no questions regarding this to the finance director or to myself, I will take a motion to approve the transfer.
So moved, Kristen Hanowitz.
Thanks, Chris. Second, please.
Betty Ann will second.
Okay. Discussion from anyone? I mean, these are kind of the facts of life. These claims do surface, and when we have them, we have to deal with them, which
Yeah.
means.
Hey, Bill, I had one question, Bill.
Sure.
We have a line item that has a reserve for workers' compensation insurance of $290,000. What is that used for?
Is that what we're talking on the balance sheet, Bev?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have various lines on the balance sheet to accrue for workers' comp's costs. That as part of the audit, the auditors get information on workers' comp, they get it on other post-employment benefits, they get it on things like vacation and sick leave. But this is an actual payment. Doug, let me ask the question, does any of this payment hit that liability account, or is this something that was not contemplated at the end of the year in that accrual?
It was probably put in the accrual the best they could. I mean, that the accrual was where they kind of not guess, but, make the best educated estimate of what our liability is. Now,
So then,
you know,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
just whether they could actually predict that somebody's going to have an event like this, I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's no question we have to pay it, but one of the things I'd ask you to check on, Doug,
Okay.
is, and I know the workers' comp numbers are based off of actuaries and different things like that and insurance companies and things. But can you find if there was anything to do in that accrual for this particular claim? I mean, I doubt it, but if we can just double check that. And obviously, if
Okay.
we got lucky and it was, then the expense hit would not be the total of 151. I mean, we can pay it now because we have to, and we can do the transfer. But if there's anything as that, if the amount in the liability section is there or is less than any piece of this 151, then I would think that liability gets hit and we restore at next month's meeting, we restore contingency for however much we could do it.
Okay, I'll check into it.
Okay.
And real quick, Bill, from Betty Ann.
Yep.
Are we able to, because it's been motioned, accepted, and discussed, able to pull from that line item budget for a
Yeah,
portion?
once if the transfer gets approved, we're okay to pay it. And realistically, we'd have to pay it anyway. So we'd be writing a check for cash,
Right, are we
out
able
of
to,
cash, and this transfer would even it in the budget so we could pay it. But my comment was, if we find that part or all of this was included in the liability, then it wouldn't be as much of a hit to the budget. But we don't know that yet. So,
and we couldn't take from that workman's comp line item to pay back what we paid?
well, no, that would be the mechanics of it. And I'm just making up numbers. Let's say half of this payment was in that liability. Then we wouldn't have an issue at next month's meeting, making a transfer again out of essentially reversing half of this transfer we're approving now. So the net effect would only be 75,000.
All right, that's what I was asking. So thank
Yeah,
you.
but we don't, until Doug digs into the information, we don't know what it is.
Bill, I have one question. Has this bill already been paid? Because it's dated March 1st.
Yeah,
I will
they had to
defer
pay,
to
Huh?
they had to pay it.
So it's already been paid. So why is it coming to us so late to pay it when it's already been paid?
It was kind of an emergency that we had to pay it in March because PMA was telling us we had to pay it right away.
Yeah, but we had a meeting in March. How come it wasn't brought up then?
I wasn't able to pull together the Board of Selectmen has to approve it first.
Right, so I just seconded a motion on something that was a moot point.
Yeah, it's
Well, no,
already been-
you have to second the motion to get the budget numbers in line. Because it wasn't approved by the Board of Selectmen until, looks like last Tuesday night.
Well, then when did it
So
get
it's-
paid? Is what I'm asking.
No, if I'm reading this right, it got paid in March.
Right.
But the Board of Selectmen, let me ask the question of, if all of this goes through, then was there any action by the Board of Selectmen, Doug, in March on this? Or did somebody get an email and say, I gotta have a check, and they got a check?
Yeah, PMA wrote us and told us that we have to get this paid. And then I put together the transfer for the Board of Selectmen and then came to you guys. It was paid in mid-March.
What was the date
So
it
the
was paid?
time, I think the check was either the 17th. And so I had to put together a transfer for the next Board of Selectmen meeting.
So when you wrote the check, obviously the credit goes to cash to lower the cash balance, because you did write a check. Where'd you put the debit?
I would just put it in a reserve account for the time being.
Oh, so you hit this whole thing to the liability account?
Yeah.
Oh, so, well, let me do this. I think you should look at that liability account first before this transfer goes through, because let's say this 150 was all in the liability account, just for laughs, okay?
Okay,
Then if that's already in the liability account, we've already hit our budget expense-wise for this claim. So this would merely zero out the liability, and this transfer wouldn't be needed, or maybe only a piece of it's needed. If nothing
Okay.
has yet to have hit, if nothing has yet to have hit the expense account, then just, doing the old accounting debits and credits routine, maybe we hold off on this until you can determine and get back to the board, do we need to do this? It's been paid anyway.
okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
so point of order, Bill, if we could go back to Kristen's motion.
Exactly. Yeah, Chris, I'd ask, given the circumstances, would you, please, you know what? Let's vote on the motion as we discussed it. And then if the motion fails, then Chris, I'll go back to you and just ask you to withdraw it. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, all those in favor of approving this transfer, say aye. All those opposed to approving this transfer, say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Jim?
Those who, any noes? Any abstentions? Chair votes aye. So the transfer is turned down. Kristen, would you just withdraw your motion to approve this, please?
Yep, I withdraw my motion to approve the transfer.
Thank you. Okay. Well, that was easy. Anyway, that was the only thing on the agenda, but I think, Doug, you've got to look at the debits and credits on this. Because if we can avoid moving 150, because I didn't realize you hit it, I didn't put together that this has already been paid, but you haven't hit an expense account yet. So if that's the case, if we can get, let's say, some or all of this not to hit our budget, all the better. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, maybe there's a big entry coming at the end of the year because of this, but we'll have to deal with it.
Okay.
Okay. Next item on the agenda. Any word, Doug, or have you heard anything on our $300,000 claim with the state?
No, it's still up at the state. I've made numerous phone calls to Michelle Dixon. Haven't heard anything back. From what I understand, she's very, very hard to get a hold of. And I think there's only maybe 2 people up there in that department. I've also made a number of phone calls to our consultants and help put this thing together. And unfortunately, I haven't been real successful there either. I finally called the head guy and was able to get some phone calls back today. So hopefully, or tomorrow, I'll hear from the other guy and he'll give me an update.
Okay, if you could provide that to the board, you can shoot out an email.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, any questions from anyone on the 300,000?
I have a question, Betty Ann.
Go ahead, Betty.
Is there a deadline for this, please?
In terms of the state approving it,
Yes.
yeah, they have 6 months from the time the claim is submitted. It hasn't been 6 months yet. So they do have a little bit of a window. And
Very
that's
good.
that's
Thank
my
you.
understanding. That's my understanding with this, with the process, to be honest with you. But there's still a lot of the state that is not working in the offices. There's still remote working and things like that. So it's another bone of contention that we as long in other towns, I'm sure have to cope with.
Right,
Mhm.
and
Any o-
thank
any
you,
other
thank you for that.
No.
The only other question for that is when did we start the 6-month clock?
Yeah, when
Good
did that
answer.
go up? March 15th or
Yeah, it
something,
went
Doug?
up, yeah, it went up, March 17th, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
So they
So we were supposed to get a
theoretically have,
copy. We were supposed to get a copy of that bill. I never got a copy. I don't know if any of the other board members did when that was
That was-
filed.
Yeah, it was included in last month's,
Wasn't in mine.
packet.
Doug,
I
would
don't have
you,
it in mine.
Doug, to make life
I
simple,
can, I
would you
can
take?
re-email it
whatever-
out to everybody if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, we'll all have it
Okay.
then, and we know we have it.
All right.
And I apologize, Bev. When we talked, I was gonna send you a copy, but I just forgot about it. But
Yeah, no,
Doug,
I
if you
know,
can
but-
just can you just email everybody that's on the board a copy of that, so we'll all have it?
Sure.
And one of the things you'll see from looking at it, there isn't a number on there that says $300,000. It's a list of costs by various line items and all. And the state will take that and match it against the documentation they have and come up with a numbers, but it's not gonna look like a bill that says, state of Connecticut, you owe the town of Seymour $300,000. If I wish it was that easy, but it's not.
Okay.
Okay, police private duty, another one of our favorite topics. The listing looks like it's 86,000 as of, I guess the end of February, Doug? I can't make out the date. It says date revised. It looks like February 23rd.
The one that I have is, March 10th.
I can't tell the date on the top of mine, but I have a number of like $86,552. Is that what you
Nine.
have?
Mm-hmm.
And 9 cents?
That's what mine shows.
That's March 10th you have?
Yeah, it's March 10th, Bill, but I have a problem because the two accounts don't total. There's like one account that says one total of 86,592.09. The other one says 86,552.09. What is it?
86,552. I'm looking at the total sheet.
Yeah, and then
And-
look in the other column where it says amount. Okay,
got 'em-
because it carries over. So it's
got 'em-
86,592.09.
Oh.
See what I'm talking about? Doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
looks like there's a $40 difference in the
Total.
sheet on the left-hand side in the total columns, Doug.
Okay, yep, I see it. One of the things I do with this spreadsheet, because it's a very long, is I go ahead and I hide a number of columns. If you want, I can send you the whole thing.
We
And
don't
then
we
you-
don't need a 40 column spreadsheet. We just need the numbers to be right. I mean, you can
Okay.
continue to hide you can, because a 40 column spreadsheet, none of us would be able to read it, least of all those with glasses. But
Right,
when you look at all of it, the left-hand side for all the admin fee, Medicare, all that stuff, that total should be the other total column about 3 columns over before you get to the breakdown of 1 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90. I mean, it's all got a flow. I mean, I know it's
Right.
only $40 on 86,000, but it's still $40 on 86,000. And with Excel, the formulas are automatic unless there's a screw up on the input.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm a little concerned about it.
Yeah,
So-
I got the same thing.
So if you can, Doug, if you can check that and get us a new sheet, you got to email out the
Okay.
claim form anyway. That would be
Yeah.
appreciated.
Okay.
Okay. Number 11 on the agenda is new business. The only thing I have is our first vote is next Tuesday at the old middle school community center. I would ask every member to go down and vote your preference, yes or no. I don't have any other new business. I don't know if anyone else has.
No, I
Okay,
thought
I-
there was,
That was pretty,
I thought there was something in our packet on the Town of Seymour reconciliation with the Board of Ed.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
just
there
about to
was. Yeah,
bring that up.
yeah, I'm
Um,
sorry,
that-
and you're absolutely right. What was in the far right column of it? Says something like miscellaneous other?
Says miscellaneous, there's a miscellaneous, and I'm concerned about the prior year reversals. Wouldn't that be in the 228 number for the Board of Ed?
Yeah, they hadn't booked those yet. They're waiting for the audit to close out. And so since the audit closed out last month, that's why it hasn't quite been booked yet. This is as of February, the end of February.
Or so
That
are we?
doesn't do us
Yeah.
in,
But we're in April 27th.
Yeah, I
yeah.
know, we're
Doug,
working,
I will,
we're working towards it. That's why I wanted to go through this and explain that we got through as of February 28th, so we're making progress. We've got all the things identified. Now we have to sit down with the Board of Ed, which we've already had a number of these already booked. And we'll get the prior year reversals. That's an easy one to book. And we're reconciling March and April as we speak.
Then I'll-
So, you know,
I'll
we'll
make-
keep sending this to you every month so you can see it.
I'll make it easy on you. Prior to our next meeting, I want a March 31st reconciliation between you and the Board of Ed. Period, without tons of adjustments, this reversal, that reversal, because if they've got to keep up on their numbers, I don't care. And especially on the right side of that, I remember, I think there's a number 24,000 and something in brackets
Yep,
that's labeled
649.
other.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't have a guess what that is. This stuff has got to be pristine. I could see if there's a week off between cutting checks and things like that. I can understand that because there's timing differences. But the Board of Ed, and as you as the finance director, I want a clean March 31st number. And for our May meeting, I want a clean April 30th number. If that means going over to the Board of Ed, and you can blame me, I don't care, and helping them or looking at the stuff or whatever, we got to have clean numbers for our next meeting. So I will expect a clean March and a clean April. Because
Okay.
if, we're talking, it's April and the audit ended in June. So, I'd say there's probably enough time to catch up.
No excuses. None. No excuses.
Okay. Anything else under new business that I missed or someone wants to bring up?
No, that's it for me.
Okay.
I'm good.
Correspondence, nobody ever writes me letters, thank you. So I don't have anything to add on it. And we're at the last item is lucky 13 for adjournment. So hearing nothing else, the vote is next week. I'll take a motion in a second to adjourn. Motion, please.
So moved, Kristen.
Chris, second, please.
I'll second it, Bev Kennedy.
Second to Bev. All
Good
those in
deal.
favor?
Aye,
Aye.
aye, 5 times.
Anybody voting no? I would doubt it. Anybody abstaining? Don't think so. Chair votes aye. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Bye, guys.
Vote.
Been real.
Stay safe and we'll
See you
get back
next
together.
week.
in a month. Oh,
Okay.
one other thing, please don't
Okay.
sign off. I
Oh,
would
Lord.
ask everybody to come down, I'm sorry, please to come down to the middle school the night of the vote. Because once we know the count, either it passes or it doesn't. If it does pass, then we will have another meeting just to ratify it. That's what we've done in the past years, mill rate and everything else. If it does not pass, then what we will end up doing is we will look at the calendar and we will set some dates, at least a couple, where we're gonna go back through the process as it is. So no one is surprised. Like to see everybody down the middle school, for, the count ends at 8 o'clock. So if you get down there like quarter of or 7:30.
Is
And
it
I
the
will
middle
get back
school?
to
Or the community
the old
center.
middle
Is it-
school.
I
Yeah,
had the community center. Can you clarify community center or middle school, please?
no, old middle school is the community center downtown.
Okay, community center, good.
I-
Don't say.
Yeah,
middle
that, I give away my age when I say
school. I was
middle
just
school,
gonna
'cause
say,
that's
you're
where-
dating
that's-
Bill, you're dating
Yeah,
yourself.
that's where I went.
Don't go there.
That's what, yeah, that's where I went, and as did both my kids. But, and I will, get hold of Monica to have her post an agenda if it's needed, if we have to have another meeting.
Okay.
Okay, well, in that
Sounds-
case, we're adjourned.
All right, good job, Bill. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bill, what day?
See you, everybody.